everyone, Pineapple here with Wednesday Season 2, Part 2, Episodes 5 and 6. The last part was good, had a lot of good moments, but boy did we have problems. Wednesday was fine, but her and Morticia certainly suffered, even having one or two completely out of character moments. Enid was not only pushed away by Wednesday, but the narrative seems to be actively trying to punish her for being the audience's favourite character, and Bianca's story felt disjointed as all hell. On the purely positive side, Ajax is a male character in this show I really want to see get more attention, his introduction into Bianca's story setting up a more prominent placement, and I can't wait to see more of Agnes. And then we have Tyler, who does not need to be seen after this season. Seriously, he's in this season solely to introduce 3 of the 4 major villains. And the writers can't seem to give him a properly consistent arc. The only consistent thing about him is his objectification, whether by the writers, Wednesday throwing him around in episode 6 like a rag doll, or used as a pawn between the knights. Next season needs to take his screen time and give it to Agnes and Ajax, seriously. Anyway, let's get into episodes 5 and 6, what is possibly the worst episode of the season, followed by the best. We start part 2 proper with Hide and Woe Seek, double punniness there. And Wednesday wakes up from a coma thanks to Tyler, only to be greeted with Weems. Yeah, sorry, even if I think she was a bitch last season, I like Gwendolyn Christie as much as the next guy, but that was fucking creepy. The reason for Weems coming back is a bit lazy, her being revealed as Wednesday's new spirit guide due to a very distant relation. But I think having Weems back, while not used to its full potential, is hype enough to justify a bit of narrative stumble. But I'm hoping her dynamic with Wednesday will either be more important or evolve their relationship next season. They recap part 1 and we get the explanation that Wednesday's powers are tied to her personality. It's a bit underdeveloped, but the gist is she'll get them back with as much character growth as the writers determine. Later on, her disagreement with Morticia is labelled as a possible hurdle, but even when they're here, the dynamics of the Addams family are repeatedly wasted in this part. Even if the charisma of the actors can block those moments from view. Addams family more like Addams acquaintances. I'd say since they live in the same house it'd be Adam's roommates, but you see the dynamic of Wednesday and Enid, and she sends a lot more love in that direction than with Morticia.
Queer.
Judy returns, just like Tyler, her appearance this episode mostly for setting up the big bad. Same with Tyler's entire role in the story, as while she tries to intimidate Wednesday, she doesn't do much else. The cops are looking for Fester, Tyler, and Slurp, but as we know, there are other crazies on the loose. Judy having sent a hitman to off the lowest patients, the woman Wednesday saved being the last. Even though he looks close to death, Tyler spends his time mocking Wednesday, Franco Osborne style, and holy cameo Batman, that annoying Pilgrim World worker is back to spread Day of the Dead cheer. Not very on brand, is it? Also, who the hell owns Pilgrim World now? The mayor is dead, and you can't tell me Lucas can run that shit. Wait, is that why he didn't come back this season? He's busy running Pilgrim World? We check in with Bianca and her mum, Ajax updating Bianca on Gideon's sightings, him being seen closer and closer to Nevermore. We get some good exposition about Morning Song, and Joy Sunday is mostly good this part, but honestly, there are moments of exposition I think are just too clunky for her to work with. But Georgie Farmer works off of her well. Like I've said, if Bianca's arcs are gonna be choppy and messy like in part 1, I kinda want Ajax to have his own focus arc in season 3. Give some of the actual interesting male characters spotlight instead of Tyler. Enid is happy to see Wednesday back, but confused when Wednesday keeps getting distracted by Weems. Wednesday tells her to book it, but they bicker more, Enid holding her ground.
I still have the scars from that fight.
Do you? Because I don't see those make-up facial scars Emma Myers apparently didn't want to wear. No shade to Emma. I get it, both leads require a fair amount of time in the makeup chair already, but come on, not even just some very faded colour and the vague shape of a claw mark on her cheek? Or hell, just cut the line that points out the fact that you didn't put the makeup on. Both girls have good points, and are both too headstrong for their own good. And another good interaction comes up as Dort tries to use Dia de los Muertos as a reason for another asinine event. Weems' disgust and rage with him is an excellent character moment, that for how central he is, it's odd they don't really play on Weems' feelings about him in the next 2 episodes, or at least episode 7. Pugsley is feeling down with Slurp's escape, but since Wednesday's been the center of attention, Gomez agrees to help Pugsley find him. Meanwhile, the hitman fucks up, getting got by Tyler, who's being tortured by a vision of his father. It's nice to have a little bit more of Jamie McShane, considering how quickly he got taken out, but let's talk about Tyler properly for a moment. Hunter Doohan does a pretty good job playing Tyler, and other characters like him, even if Muse was fairly wasted. And the future big bad of this season, connecting not only to the Addams, but to him, does use him as a good narrative device, building the next big bad off of one of the previous villains. But Tyler really doesn't do much past this episode, and when he does, it's either bad or contained in his own family. I know his character's left on a cliffhanger, but seriously, there's not much else to do with him. Only mentally ill people like the showrunners want the abusive relationship with Wednesday to continue. And like I said, removed from that, he's only interesting with his family, who all die. So I'll take a one-episode cameo next season so the showrunners can have their episode where he's oiled, shirtless, and he can get his redemption arc off screen, since judging by this season, they like to have their off-screen character arcs, and once the relationship between him and Wednesday is shut down for good, we have no reason to see him ever again. Let's give the actually popular characters, and the ones with protagonist potential, the spotlight. If the show needs a focus on a male main character, give it to Ajax. Once again, I didn't care about him last season, but this season shows he's got potential. Wednesday has broken into Capri's desk, her having connections to Hyde's, and since we don't see her wolf out, there's speculation about if she really is a werewolf. But let's just leave it as what it is, an undeveloped character arc. Her backstory is that she wolfed out and defended herself from her Hyde boyfriend, said Hyde killing his master, leaving him to degrade and die. And it's clear Wednesday's new plan is to hijack the connection and take over as Tyler's master. And for the love of God, don't romanticize this. Tyler wants to kill her and Enid, even if he does kinda want to bone her. It makes far more sense if Wednesday wants to keep him in a little cage and torture him for eternity, not bang him. He literally just injured her so hard she went comatose. And I hear arguments like, oh, the Addams hurt each other all the time. Yeah, it's consensual. Something that the showrunners and the Tyler shippers don't seem to grasp. But you know, what's new in Hollywood? Both Weems and Morticia are against the whole grooming of the Hyde.
It's the same feeling I used to have when Larissa Weems walked into the room.
Is it the clawing need to be liked, combined with the sickly scent of superiority?
Yes.
And my god, what direction were they going for? Why the hell does Emma Myers look so good here? Anyway, once again, she abandons a boy to plan a way to save herself and Wednesday, with the help of Thing calling the Nightshades together that night, while Slurp and the Addams boys converge on Pilgrim World, with the woman from before hearing radio reports on Tyler's actions. Man, I know this show had good music taste, but Squirrel Nut Zippers color me hyped. The boys get some decent humour with Arlene, and Agnes gets some grovelling in before telling Wednesday about the Nightshades. Wednesday, the Wolves, Bianca, Ajax, and Kent all teaming up to take Tyler down. And this is cool, but let's talk about Kent. Now, this show has already wasted the stunning face card of Joanna Diaz-Watson, her leaving the show with Naomi J. Ogawa, the only minor character of the Nightshades returning being Kent. And he's had one or two funny moments in part one, but my god, he does fuck all here. And even though he's credited for the next 2 episodes, I'll have to be on the lookout through this review, because for the life of me, I cannot tell you where he exists in either of those episodes. Speaking of wasted character, I've forgotten the whole bit I had going with Bruno, because even though he at least gives Enid something to do, my offhand theories about why he was so underused may as well be Shakespearean or Orwellian in station, compared to what the writers actually give him to do. Wednesday cooks her Hyde control serum, and Tyler has a piss-easy way into Nevermore, as the cops looking for him rush over to Pilgrim World, Slurp having eaten his way through an attraction of people. He talks to Pugsley while the cops descend, Pugsley helping him escape as they have an actual conversation, and Gomez and Slurp clearly recognize each other as he slinks off. The mysterious woman visits Morticia, turning out to be Francoise Galpin, not having died, but having been taken to Willow Hill, claiming Wednesday is her angel for saving her. The mothers teaming up to find Tyler, Francoise pledging to take him away, and Tyler makes his move. While Dort distracts the rest of the student body, Enid leads Tyler into a trap, and the fight scene is abysmal. Wednesday sucks at sneaking, Kent and Bianca are limp noodles, Ajax and Bruno may as well be dead weight, and neither of the Sirens or Gorgons use their abilities. Enid just kind of falls over, and while Wednesday very clearly has an opening to capture Tyler preying on his emotions, Francoise comes in, Wednesday falls over, and even though she was all, Wednesday is an angel, she straight up would have killed her if not for Morticia. This whole scene and everything that comes of it fucking sucks, and this episode pisses me off to no end. Wednesday very clearly would have succeeded. The only reason any of this would have gone wrong is that the Nightshades and Enid act mentally deficient. We only just met Francoise and she immediately contradicts what part of her character has just been set up. Okay, calming breaths. Did you know that there's a petition to axe Goen Miller? Just saying, I totally haven't signed that already. The episode ends with the least interesting character round robin yet, ending with Slurp confronting Judy and Enid somehow wolfing out without the full moon. Later we'll learn she can do this when under extreme stress. Was the hide that attacked her not scary enough? If these actors weren't so good, this episode would have made me consider dropping the show. I'm not even going to give this episode a summary. After that mess we have possibly the best episode of the season, Woe Thyself, and oh, what the fresh hell is this? Yeah, this is certainly an opening. It's a testament to how well these characters are played that this opening brings out such uncomfortable feelings so easily. Now, the whole body swap thing is completely unoriginal, lazy, and quite honestly, it's one of my least favourite tropes. Not as far up there as lazy mind control, but I do actively avoid body swap movies. Even if I know at some point I'll probably look at the Freaky Friday films and Family Switch on here. But the reason it works here is not only how opposite the characters are, but Emma and Jenna knowing each other and their characters so well is what makes this such a great episode. And while there are still failings, it proved to everyone, including most of the critics, that the show pretty much only works with the two female leads instead of the showrunners getting distracted by the oiled up married man. Enid and Wednesday bicker more, even if, once again, no matter how crappy the plan was, it was clearly going to work. And after they update Santiago and Dort, Wednesday follows Weems out.
I was hoping once Day of the Dead was over, you would just sashay back into the afterlife.
I don't sashay. Ever.
Weems does some spirit guidance, Wednesday finally asking for help. Weems telling us and Wednesday what the writers need to hear. The Addams family should be the focus, nor the Addams acquaintances. Wednesday does her tried and true only way of getting any information, going around and asking people until she gets a lead, but at least now she doesn't have to go full repetition and go around accusing the wrong people repeatedly. We learn of the existence of the Da Vinci Ethan Knight, Francois' brother, and Wednesday realizes Ethan is Slurp, her bursting into Pugsley's dorm to get info. Eugene being right there, and her not saying one word to him. I'm pretty sure she talks to him next episode, so that makes 6 episodes with her not even saying one word to this character who was supposed to remind her of her little brother, and that she grew very close to. Because Wednesday Addams actually felt guilt when he got injured, and that's a pretty major step in her character last season. So to have her, I don't think, even mention him is a major misstep. We check in with the Galpins, Tyler now enslaved to another mother figure, and ooh, another abusive relationship. Not only do the writers seem to romanticize abuse, we can add being abused by mother figures along with oiled up and shirtless to their list of fetishes with Hunter Doohan. Capri kicks Bruno to the wayside in order to talk to Enid about the whole wolfing out randomly thing. Apparently, Enid is presenting as an alpha, making her destined to be lonely. Once again, not like everyone else, her biggest fear set up last season. Now, there are 2 things that jump out to me as being very poorly done here. First off, Capri calls being a late bloomer and wolfing out under the blood moon classic alpha signs. If that was the case, why didn't we hear about it last season? Why didn't Enid's mother bring up that idea? It's just poor writing. And on top of that, it really muddies the metaphor. Last season, it was very clear with the whole I am who I am and conversion camps that Enid's wolfing out was an allegory for queerness. And what is it in this season? Well, it's arguably more of an allegory about puberty, your body changing and both the physical and social fears that come along with it. In isolation, in any other young adult show, that would be interesting. But the meaning taking such a left turn once again just feels like they had an idea but no way to execute it, leading these aspects of her character to feel underdeveloped, muddy, and with no direction. Wednesday refuses to do the same thing, so after getting the information from Grandmama Frump, she seeks out the grave of Rotwood, the original owner of the cottage, and Wednesday sneaks out to her grave looking for a cheat to get her power back. Enid's alpha already showing when she comes to drag her back.
I am not missing that gala. I will literally drag Wednesday back by her braids if I have to.
Lady Gaga is here, and for like 2 scenes, kind of a waste if you ask me, but apparently they were having budget issues by the end of the season. And at that rate, they just may as well have got a lesser known actress and given her at least 1 more scene of prominence. It's not a bad performance, but it's just very, hey look, we got Lady Gaga, and less of an actual character. Enid interrupts the ritual, causing the body swap in return. Once again, something she blames on Wednesday when both the last episode and this episode, Enid either ruins or contributes very little to Wednesday's seemingly working plans. They wake up in each other's bodies and, I have no notes. All of this rules. If I could, I'd just play it all here.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
Watching my body contort to your emotional outbursts is making me queasy.
Pretty much all of my complaints about the situation come from other characters, but these performances are perfect, especially considering how little prep time the showrunners gave them. There is also a lot of score being played backwards this episode, which is a really clever way to make the scenes feel even more uncomfortable. The two agree to keep the body swap to themselves, even though they're both hopeless at it. Agnes not realizing what's going on, even with Wednesday seemingly forgetting everything they talked about the day before. And as if Jenna playing Enid wasn't fun enough, Jenna playing Enid playing Wednesday is some really well done humour and depth in performance. Agnes seems legitimately concerned with Wednesday's mental state, and Wednesday is busy throwing Bruno around like she's Steven Seagal play fighting. Enid learns that Wednesday's colour allergy is very real and not snark, and we get a really well acted scene with her and Morticia. Now, the scene is fine as it is, but just fine, seriously. I know they're supposed to be estranged, but she doesn't notice something serious is up with her daughter. I wish there was just at least one line that maybe Morticia, in her strained relationship, is in denial, and seeing Wednesday smiling, instead of being rightfully concerned of the out-of-character behaviour, is just happy that her daughter's happy. But the way she just kind of waves the behaviour away with no justification put in there just makes her seem unattentive and stupid. Agnes is a 13-year-old, and even she knows something really concerning is happening. Wednesday learns that if they don't swap back, they die, and Slurp is hanging around the Galpins, finding Francois' bunker, which turns out to be right under the doghouse. Jesus Christ, that is a plot twist. Francois is actually hesitant to believe Ethan's return, but we get the confirmation as they reunite, and for these next 3 episodes, yeah, they ain't beating the incest allegations. Are we sure Tyler's a Galpin? Ethan has plans for an old machine, the one down in Lois that the Stonehurst stole. Ethan planning to save Francois from her debilitating condition by removing her hide ability. Wednesday learns some info on the Alpha front from a confused Capri, and snoops around in the cabin, finding Rotwood's secret seance room. And other than Lady Gaga having a second appearance here, not being very useful. The main thing we learn is that Morticia is a smut writer. Okay, that could have been better, but we do get a moment or two of humour from this. And although not really focused on, Morticia seeming to like Wednesday writing her own books, while she keeps hers hidden, having had Hester as a mother, is a nice detail in their non-existent reconciliation that gets teased multiple times but doesn't really happen. Enid is freaking out about dinner with the Addams and sneaks a peek at Wednesday's Wenclair fanfiction. And in revenge for her feeble characterization, she colours up and assaults the senses of the student body, humiliating Wednesday, even though it never gets brought up again. And Enid learns her lesson when the colour allergy gets so bad she freaks out on the floor. Immediately after, Wednesday finds Bruno cheating on Enid and summarily breaks up with him. And although it happens directly after, it doesn't really seem to be in retaliation for Enid's display. It's very much just Wednesday doing the right thing by Enid. Enid revels in her performance going TikTok viral, and Agnes is more concerned than ever, telling Enid about the Bruno breakup and the death vision. But Agnes suggests Enid is the reason for Wednesday's supposed mental breakdown. And for this and the remaining episodes, Agnes is my favourite character, and out of all the characters, is the perfect mix of great writing and acting. Most other characters only getting excellent acting and average subpar writing, but Agnes's character is the most consistent and well-paced character arc in the season, finding support with Thing, Orloff and other appendages as their support group for body parts. It's just incredibly well done, and I can't help praising her, the writing, and Evie Templeton. Thing also gets exploration, and while his arc gets kinda wasted in the final episode, his is probably the second best written, and it spans the whole season. And I didn't see it becoming a major focus of the plot like it does. It can really sneak up on you. At dinner, Morticia finally realizes something is wrong, Weems having to show and exposit the plot. Morticia realizing the ticking clock and sending Enid to grab Wednesday and figure this shit out. But before she can, Isaac kills Orloff, right in front of Agnes, killing the one teacher that just made her feel seen. This man better get a gruesome death. Agnes follows the Knights/Galpins, trapped with Judy's corpse, tailing them to Lois, and the body-confused girls giving chase to save the Vanisher. The girls almost save Agnes with no consequence, but Tyler finds them, Wednesday kicking the shit out of him and wolfing out, ready to tear him limb from limb. But Enid gets them out of there after Agnes fucks with the machinery, ruining the procedure and blowing the lab to hell, the Twisted family only just making it out. Agnes realizing the body swap and their continued friendship is really cute, and the other girls head back to the grave, complimenting and acknowledging each other's hardships, in a really well done moment. And the day is saved, but Weems ends the episode with some bad news. Enid is saved, but in her place an Adams must die. Now, if I remember correctly, Enid's death is the first premonition in this series to actually be subverted. As in Season 1, even with Morticia, Weems and Xavier going on and on about how visions are unpredictable, avoidable, etc, etc, all of Wednesday's visions come true, the same with Rowan's mother's vision. So this being the first vision to be avoided kinda sucks. Really, it should have come true, Enid dying, but then brought back with Pugsley's electricity. That plot beat already being set up with Ethan and how Fester saved Thing last season. And this lack of stakes with the visions only gets worse in the final episode. The death and return of an Adams, just like I said with Enid, gets perfectly set up and shown to your face, but the show forgets about the vision. What a poorly written and lazy end to an otherwise great episode. Here we have the highest and lowest point of the season, as while other episodes have a lot of good and a lot of bad, these two hype me up and piss me off the most. Only 2 more episodes until the end of the season. Let's hope these 2 major storylines get wrapped up at least semi-satisfactorily. Let's get into episode 7. Woe Me the Money starts with a fun flashback in a town called Morning Song. Where have we heard that before? And we get to see Dort's first meeting with Gideon, or in reality Arnold Hunt, a failing actor who now meeting Dort and Gabrielle are dragged into his idea, a cult named after this very town. Arnold becoming the character and figurehead Gideon. From the start, very clearly in it for the money and fame, and back in the future just because he feels like it, I guess. Dort reveals he's known Gabrielle was in the school the whole time, now using her as a hostage. Bianca being his siren again. So, let's get this dog shit pacing clear, okay? Because this is the end of Bianca's arc, and I don't think she even appears in the next episode, so even though Wednesday helps her finish her arc in this episode, she doesn't do jack shit to return the favour. The first 2 episodes of the season make Bianca do bad things while being threatened by Dort, going so far as to siren Morticia. Nothing comes of this, not for the Adams or Bianca. The next 2 episodes are about Bianca's suddenly completely changed mother being hidden and introducing Ajax into the plot to give him something to do. And for the last 2 episodes, nothing progressed at all. That's terrible. Bianca's arc is all over the place, and there's no depth at all. Sure, the story is interesting, and this is a decent finale to it, but it's very clear they wanted to give Bianca a story, they spent 5 minutes of it, handed in the unfinished dot points, and called it a day. After the credits, Orloff's body is finally found, Dort doing all he can to pave over it and get the gala up and running for the evening. With the trio finally grouped together, the gay couple and their adoptive daughter. All is right with the world as Wednesday and Enid have the closeness they should have had all season. And the bickering between Enid and Agnes is more comedic and less Enid about to assault a 13-year-old. Also, where exactly is Wednesday looking in this shot? There's no way these two are acting as straight as the showrunners want them to. Wednesday, now in her closeness and collaboration era, updates them about the premonition and has to get background on Isaac from her parents, the Da Vinci being Gomez's ex-bestie and roommate, and about how Stonehurst took advantage of his tech once he died. Wednesday jokingly offers Pugsley's life to fulfill the prophecy, and she talks with Morticia about their shared writing. Sure, I'd have liked their talk to go a bit deeper, but we do get a couple good bits of comedy.
Your father has no inkling, and that's the way I'd like to keep it.
My lips are sealed for my own protection. I began to profusely vomit after reading the first 5 pages.
Enid tells Bruno to piss off, him almost on his knees, begging for a second chance, while Capri gives the warning that Enid could permanently shift while she's going through alpha puberty if she wolfs out on the full moon, and that if she does, other werewolves will hunt her down. Why? Who knows? Honestly, I think the season would be far better if the premonition kept with Enid until the final episode. None of this alpha shit. Then next episode, she could die in the confrontation with the Knights, and Pugsley could bring her back. Then, instead of next season being about her wolf body drama, it could have been undead wolf body drama, which all things considered would probably be easier on the budget. The male villains measured dicks, Wednesday conveniently arriving at the Galpin house in Bunker the second they go out to get Francois medicine. And Weems gives us some interesting backstory about her and Francois that is quickly stopped by Wednesday's sarcasm. I kinda wish that was explored, but whatever. Finally, Wednesday talks to Eugene. It only took 7 out of 8 episodes this season. This episode, and I think one conversation next episode, being the sum of their interactions. For Wednesday, and the character that dealt her first massive blow of sadness and guilt midway through last season. I hate these showrunners, man. We have a slurp detector in a corpse-seeking bug Wednesday found, and Ajax notices something is up when Bianca just kinda waves him off. Dort forcing her to siren Hester into donating her fortune to the school. Once again, like with Morticia, you'd think if Dort has an anti-siren charm, someone as world-wizened, business-focused, and having a self-professed history in tomb raiding would know not to walk into a business deal in a school full of outcasts without resistance to mind whammies.
Masterful presentation. My ego has never been more expertly stroked.
Tyler is forced to give blood to Francoise to get her back on her feet, and I get this is supposed to be building up the fraying of the knights to culminate in the battle lines next episode, but it's really just an excuse to get them away from the gala, boring us with cutting away to them every now and then, even though they could have just been absent from the episode bar the beginning and the cliffhanger, and little would have changed. Larissa and Morticia have a pretty good scene together talking about their relationship, and Hester trying to put a wedge between the mother and daughter. I kinda wish Weems got some proper emotional scenes like this last season, instead of just, constantly being a bitch. Enid is preparing her cage and bears all the info on her alpha puberty to Wednesday. Man, I'm really liking them having their communication now. Too bad it took 5 episodes of estrangement to get to this point. Ajax bursts in just as Wednesday is swearing her undying loyalty to Enid.
Would you come and find me? I have no problem hunting you down.
Will you just kiss her already, dude?
Wanting their help with Bianca, Wednesday confronting her the next day, seeing Hester mind-whammy for herself. That's right, these two rivals set up last season finally get a proper fleshed out one-on-one. Once again, 7 episodes in. Joy Sunday's final episode of the season. God, this show is really trying to be Stranger Things in the worst way possible. Bianca sirens Wednesday, but that move was predictable. Finally, someone with a brain cell. So Agnes had to be hanging around and updates Wednesday that all went well and good, But, oh my god, Agnes has done this, which greatly offends Wednesday. And I'm sorry, if this was part 1, Agnes, I'd be disgusted, but she's just trying to show Wednesday how highly she regards her, and Wednesday makes her cry.
Heartless bitch.
Gideon's finally made it to Nevermore, and even though Bianca is his stepdaughter, kind of, he barely says a word to her before his mistakes pile up and Dort decides it'd all be easier with him out of the way, and Jesus. Yeah, that death rules. I especially love the little toss of what is clearly a fake skeleton into the fireplace. Also, I'm sure Bianca's reaction would make a great meme. The ball starts and it looks pretty good, nice new and reuse of a previous set, and all the outfits are pretty on point, especially Ajax and Dort's dinky pirate hats. Weems is fully dressed up for the 2 scenes she appears in, which is odd, and Wednesday finally gets Bianca on board. The shock of her dodging the siren song getting the siren on side. Enid is waiting for Bruno, but as soon as he turns up, the other woman is there, acting confused that he's with another girl. What the hell are the logistics here? So, Bruno most likely called it off with Sophia when he tried to get Enid back. Not doing so would have been dumb, meaning possibility 1, this girl came all the way from the Philippines to get him back, and her question is asking if it's him. Or she knows nothing about the cheating and wanted to surprise him. And lastly, the silliest, option 3, Bruno invited her and wanted to try and bounce between the 2 girls all evening without either one noticing, and honestly, I have no idea which one of these options they were going for. Enid takes the high road and brushes Bruno off, running into a weeping Agnes, and Enid finally realizes Agnes just wants friends. So much like Wednesday, she embraces Agnes's own eccentricities and tells her to stop trying to be like Wednesday. Pugsley is feeling down, leaving the grounds while followed by Isaac, and Ajax pulls his part of the plan off, saving Gabrielle so that Dort has no leverage. But, like, he can still cut Bianca's scholarship, and what kind of leverage was leaving Gabrielle alone unguarded anyway? Now that Agnes is herself, Wednesday finally shows her some respect. Agnes still willing to help along with the plan, but more secure in herself and her connection to the 2 girls. This is the kind of character arc writing I want for every character. Is it just twisted irony that whenever the writers try to focus on Tyler or make a mess of Bianca's arc, in a sort of alchemical law of equivalent exchange, Agnes and Wenclair get unintentionally fantastic moments? Now we have this season's dance with a Lady Gaga song, because of course after the virality of that happening last season, they knew to do it again. And not only do I love the dead dance as a bop, but everything else in the scene is really good too. The dance itself is well choreographed, and it certainly helps that Emma and Evie have background in dance. It serves the plot as Agnes takes Dort's anti-siren watch while he does his silly little dance, and looking good, but a little confusing, the camera spends a lot of time with Bianca and Wednesday leering at each other. Okay, I kinda get the appeal of Wenclair now. And her waiting for Agnes to deliver the watch, it's just cut together oddly. But otherwise, with Thing getting to dance in the mix, the scene's golden. Now with the watch out of his hands, Bianca calls Dort on stage and forces him to tell all, with a really funny delivery. Also, Morticia's reactions to him are great.
It started when I ordered Bianca Barclay to siren Morticia Adams into asking her mother for a large donation.
Still kinda weird that there's no interaction between Morticia and Bianca after the whole focus on mothers and her key role in the plot, just another victim of the sloppily done morning song plot line. Dort holds Bianca at fire point, but Ajax stones him, and the chandelier Dort lit on fire comes down and shatters him. Oh my god, Ajax just killed a man. Well, it's at least manslaughter. Yay, Ajax finally had some agency instead of trying to get Bianca to open up or just straight up being cucked. Please, for the love of God, give him some prominence next season. Also, I love the cuts back to Wednesday as she revels in Dort's downfall. Bianca thanks Wednesday and Ajax for the really bad line.
I owe you one, Ajax. You really rocked his world.
Hester is trying real hard to get Wednesday to come home with her. Something she'll do next episode too, which seems real suspect. But Wednesday tells her to shove it thanks to how critical she's been of Gomez. Hester even using the line,
You're just going through a phase.
Seriously? You writers just keep running headfirst into the queer allegory and pretending it's not there. The episode ends with everyone realizing Pugsley's gone and no one able to find him once Isaac chloroforms him. Such a weird relationship. A man technically as old as his parents preying on the boy with no friends. What is it with these writers and groomers slash predators? This is also a pretty good moment for Wednesday, as before she flippantly offered Pugsley his tribute, but now looks ready to kill for him. And sure, occasionally that's her baseline, but you get what I mean. So that was Woe Me the Money, a pretty solid episode. Sure, it suffers from Bianca's arc being a complete mess, but the gala was great, Agnes carries, and I was pretty entertained the whole way through. Most of my criticisms are that of the season itself, and mostly not that prevalent in the episode. Finally is the finale, This Means Woe. A fine ending, but with a lot of elements not used to their full potential. A full search for Pugsley is underway and the student body is evacuating. With no sign of Pugsley, Weems, the Addams women, and the crick in her neck, seriously what's up with that, need to pool their psychic resources to get a lead, enlisting Hester's help, having a seance in Rotwood's secret chamber. It's a rocky endeavour, Wednesday hesitant and Hester bitchy as ever, but eventually Wednesday gets a vision of Gomez and Morticia dumping Isaac's corpse under the skull tree, giving us more questions than answers. This leaves Morticia to tell the story of what happened. The past shown with the same monochrome filter from Isaac's story in episode 1. And much like the vision, we get to see the same actors return as young Morticia and Gomez, making me once again wonder if they want a spin-off, why not use these actors to do a prequel? Able to reuse many sets since it seems Morticia and Gomez were surrounded by more nefarious plots and murders than an Agatha Christie protagonist. Also, the obligatory comment on how attractive Gwen Jones is. It turns out Gomez used to have the same power as Pugsley and Fester, but lost it due to Isaac's betrayal, sticking him in as the power source of the Lois machine in his first attempt to remove the hide back in the tower before Stonehurst appropriated it. The grave that Gomez threw him in being the one he dug for Gomez. The only reason it went awry, Morticia sabotaging the experiment, blowing Isaac sky high. But should he succeed where he failed last time, it'll be Pugsley on the chopping block. The next day, everyone's leaving, Bruno off with Sophia, good riddance to bad rubbish, and Ajax and Enid having a little talk. It's really cool that they're back as friends, but it's definitely Enid who should have apologised to him. Sure, he was rude and off-putting to her a couple times, but she was two-timing him. This is victim blaming. Agnes has already got Enid a list of new boyfriends using her stalker powers for good, but Enid decides to swear off guy romance for a while. Isaac humiliates Pugsley in revenge for being kept like a pet, and after some Alabama-looking shenanigans with Francoise, they gear up for the battle. Seriously though, the way the siblings separate when Tyler comes back really feels like teenagers about to kiss getting walked in on. I hate it here. We get a bit of Agnes' backstory coming from a broken home, her father clearly some kind of businessman, and mother preferring her normie family. Wow, Agnes really isn't beating the Wenclair daughter allegations. Wednesday gives her own version of comforting words and Enid heads off to the Lupin cages, Wednesday swearing to meet her first thing in the morning, while Eugene gets got by Isaac. Santiago and the cops fall for Tyler's ploy running over to another town, while Weems revels in Dort's downfall. Eugene delivering Isaac's message, the final battle to take place at the Skull Tree, due for midnight. Thing almost gives Isaac a bolt to the face when they meet, but Tyler delivers the hand to Isaac. Plot twist, Thing is Isaac's missing hand, explaining why the Da Vinci hasn't been using his abilities. And while this was set up with Thing's arc, it is a little odd that there were no hints at all from Isaac's side, because I can't recall a single moment where emphasis was put on his handless glove. Also, we get this dumbass graphic where we see the letters in Night rearranged to Thing. It's like the Sutek reveal without any of the tension. Isaac stitches Thing back onto himself, taking the poor appendage over, and here we have it, an Addams dying, losing all sense of self. It's right here. But the show never acknowledges it as such, even though Thing's whole story is about how his past doesn't matter and he is his own Addams as he is. But the show never connects the two. They try to fake you out with Morticia falling over later, and then kinda just wave the vision off. But where Enid dying and being revived would have been a clear solution to her demise, that's pretty much exactly what happens to Thing. But the show, instead of making this the prominent resolution when they beat Isaac, Isaac seems to ignore what it's doing here, and like so many other times, once again, ignores the Addams in favour of shoving more Hyde drama down our throats. Hey guys, it's called Wednesday, a la the Addams Family, not Tyler Hyde in the City. Whether this show refuses to give us good material in moments or straight up ignores the good material it manages to make, it will always simultaneously entertain and enrage me. Isaac wants Wednesday out of the way, burying her alive where her father would have been buried, and I've seen Wilders on Copium saying tons of shit about this scene, but face facts, Tyler barely cares about her being buried. Like, yeah, he looks like he has a little longing, but it's more like he wanted to do it himself than him not wanting it to happen. He still very much wants her and Enid dead. Agnes sees the burying after abandoning her dad for her new mums, so fetches Enid. The only option to save the goth being for her to wolf out and dig her out. Agnes not really making any effective headway, but she's trying her best, goddammit. Enid's wolf looks a lot better this season, and after they look into each other's eyes longingly and lovingly, Wednesday recognizing the massive sacrifice Enid made for her, Enid runs off into the wilderness, now destined to be hunted by her own kind. See what I mean about this show trying to get their straight love interests front and center, and then accidentally writing the gayest shit ever? Wednesday sends Agnes to track her, and joined by Morticia, Gomez getting the authorities, they storm into the lab where Francoise is elected to have Tyler's hide removed first, strapping him to the table and activating the machine, much to his rage. Because I guess the show really wants the ideas of Tyler and non-consent really just buddied up together. Whether it's something happening to him or something he's doing to Wednesday. Before the process can finish, Morticia baits Francoise, and Wednesday frees Tyler, letting him go after Isaac so that she can save Pugsley. Now this moment I can't defend. While this is easily seen as Wednesday making a strategic decision so she can save Pugsley, with that stupid line at the end of the episode where she acts as if she isn't sure why she freed Tyler, this is definitely meant to be a moment setting up unresolved feelings. And all I have to say is that he was part of multiple plans to kill her, the first plan would have worked if not for a spirit intervening, has assaulted her more than once, one time landing her in a coma, and assaulted and threatened to kill multiple of the very small number of people that Wednesday cares about, including her little brother and Enid. This relationship is trash, and so are whichever writers trying to make it work. Tyler goes after his mother, Wednesday enjoying the fighting immensely.
It's your mommy. I haven't enjoyed a mother-son relationship like this since Psycho.
The Hydes battling it out over the school rooftops in a big CGI brawl. Ah, so you didn't have the budget for Pugsley using his lightning in a resurrection scene, as said in interviews, but you did for two of the lesser audience cared about characters to have a big brawl, where the thing I and many other people cared most about was securing the safety of the dorm window. Isaac's device is once again going to shit, blowing up in his face, just as Francoise dies upon a werewolf statue. Ironic. There's a fake out of Morticia's death, once again, poorly done and wasting time, and the arc that they already set up. Speaking of that arc, Isaac, much like Morticia, obviously was still alive, and when trying to kill Wednesday, Thing comes back, using his fighting prowess we've seen before to beat the shit out of the Da Vinci in a really good beatdown, ripping his clockwork heart right from his chest. It's good, really, but there are so many minor changes that I've mentioned that could elevate it to great, especially having a scene where Wednesday welcomes Thing back like the rest of the family, as we know how much she cares as seen in last season. But really all we get is a poorly done 80-yard line. The next day they're all packed up, Thing throwing his night ring away and embracing his own identity. Tyler looks over his parents' graves and Capri for some reason asking him to go with her theorizing that getting a load of Hydes together would create a support system that negates the need for masters. Okay, that's kind of a clever idea to get Tyler out of the show, but last season no one had heard of a Hyde before, and now they're fucking everywhere. Capri's dad, her ex, Tyler, his mum, this pack, the one Fester met. I thought the whole point of Wednesday only being able to find them present in Nathaniel Faulkner's journal was that they were rare and dangerous. Pugsley and Eugene have a nice goodbye, and Weems goes off on spirit holiday now that Wednesday and Morticia are on better terms. Wednesday, joined by Thing and Fester, heading straight for the Canadian wilderness in search of Enid. And we get teased for the next season, Ophelia alive and stuck under Hester's mansion in a cell. Wanting Wednesday dead communicated with blood all over the walls. And for some reason, the avian's bird appears again, which just has no meaning whatsoever. Why is that there? Judy and everyone involved with Lois, bar Tyler, is dead. Overall, the ending wasn't that bad, and once again, setting up a season where the premise is solely based on Wednesday and Enid makes me hopeful next season will be better off, instead of repeating this season's failures. I swear to God, if Enid or Wednesday get another love triangle, I'm going to stab someone. All the pieces, Isaac, Thing, the prophecy, they were there, but there was a much better way to arrange them that we just didn't manage. So that was Wednesday Season 2. There was a lot of good here. The acting was pretty much 10 out of 10, but where this show fails is the way it uses its characters in its story. Wednesday was a good lead, sure. I would have liked a bit more evolution from last season, as she basically repeats her talk to everyone one by one and accuse everyone remotely suspicious except for the actual perpetrator thing from last season. But apart from teasing she might still have feelings for Tyler, the rest of her characterization was pretty good. Enid was wasted for a lot of the season, but setting up her next season arc and how she was when the show actually treated her as a main character were really fun. Agnes, being the new tertiary character of the group, got the best arc, even if her role as the Stalker was wasted like expired milk. And if Evie doesn't return next season prominently, once again with her own character arc, maybe even given some plot prominence, it would be a massive waste. On the other hand, Thing, I think, needs to stay, but he probably doesn't need as much plot prominence next season, just being a good member of the sidecast. Joy Sunday was good as Bianca, but my God, was her plot mismanaged. Changing focus or not having any at all every couple of episodes. And very little interaction with the main character, who was set up to be her respected rival. A real waste. Tyler had good plot prominence, and it's not like there was a lack of good acting, but I really think he's run his course, as all he did this season was injure the main character and be the, or at least a major part of the introduction of 3 out of 4 of the main villains. Sure, give him a 1-episode cameo so that he can get the redemption it seems the writers really want him to have, but then just forget about him, please. He was a pretty good twist villain in Season 1, but you just can't make him interesting at the expense of the other characters who deserve the screen time. Ajax being one of the characters that needs it. He was kind of just there in Season 1, but here he got a taste of real agency. So I'm hoping along with Agnes next season, he'll have a lot more to do prominently in a plotline. The Addams family will need to come back, but I feel they were used pretty well this season, tying into the main plot well, and while barely interacting that there should have been more of, their connection to the Knights I thought was a great way to layer connections in the story, but more of a proper focus on them as a family to mirror the possibly incestuous, abusive monsters that are the Knights would have been appreciated. I rated last season a 7.5 out of 10, and while there is a lot more here that I liked or was excited by, its failings make me feel that last season was the better one, as its plots and character arcs felt really solid and entwined. While here the plot lines were messy, some characters don't seem to play how they were intended, some of the things that make the show as great as it was, like Jenna and Emma, are intentionally pushed away for a majority of episodes, and sure, that makes the scenes where they're together in the last 3 episodes feel all the more stronger. It makes a lot of Part 1 feel wasted, as we're supposed to care for Enid's life, and all we see her do is be jealous and cheat. So I guess I'll rate Wednesday Season 2 a 7 out of 10, only getting such a good score since everything but the writing was exemplary, but I really do feel the call of a 6 out of 10, especially thinking about episode 5. Thank you very much for watching my reviews of Wednesday Season 2. Please like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you wish, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, ring the notification bell so you're told every single time that I make an upload. Write down in the comments what you think needs to be done in Season 3, and I will see you in the next review. Bye!
Toast. A little piece of toast. Because there's so much to choose from. There's brown bread, white bread, all sorts of wholemeal bread. It comes in funny packages with writing on the side.